Ready. Check Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though. That's right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though. That's right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though. I said Monday, Wednesday, Friday, yeah, you know it's a go. Okay, I see they going off, but we gon' rewrite it though.
Welcome to another edition of the Rewriters Room, the men with the pen. We are back. It's been a little longer break than we planned, but we're very, very happy to be providing this podcast for you all. I'm happy to be back with my guys, the boy Armand, journalist, editor, all that good stuff. It's my birthday weekend, so I'm feeling real nice, real nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I don't do this alone, I got my incredible black man with me. How y'all feeling, man? Let the people know who y'all are.
What's good, y'all boys? It's CC, the best rapper and producer in the whole wide world. Got body because I consume healthy products and do towel curls. Benevolent servant to the earth and philanthropist. And every phrase that I say is a gem like amethyst. You can put any nigga next to me and dope ass women gonna look at him like, whose man's is this? I may talk a lot, but I only got one thing to say. Love yourself. Keep going. You are the world. So give all you can to take care of your body, your people, and your land. Checking 10, nigga. Where Channing at?
Reporting live from the mid card, it's Channing, Grandpa Chan. My mid card brethren, we're going through some trials and tribulations right now. They're trying to, make the division leaner. That's the word we're getting. They want it to be lean. A versatile division. So just getting through that. Getting ready for this Money in the Bank ladder match. Which this year, our people are represented much more than years past. I'm very happy about that. But just been living life, relaxing, trying to, get my, playoff P energy going. So everything's good over here.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, we are part of the A Show RNC network. If you don't follow us on Twitter. If you're not subscribed to the Patreon, subscribe to the Patreon, because if you're not subscribed, you can't hear a fun conversation we're going to have later that I think you all have a lot of opinions about. But you don't get that till later. So we're about to jump into the fun stuff. Let's jump into our pre-write, where we recap storylines in the WWE that we really fuck with right now. We've been away for a little bit, so I think we'll have a lot to say here. So fellas, what's going on in the WWE right now that you're really fucking with?
I think a better question would be to insert not really fucking with into that question. Because then I can give you about 50 minutes, but if you want 5 minutes, then I guess ask the question like you normally did. Dude, honestly, so here's what I'll say. At the WWE at this point probably has the best in-ring wrestlers like all around that they've ever had in their company history. Yeah. And that is the best part about the WWE right now. At least only, and that's only because it's muddied by Raw or whatever. And I say that to say, like, I don't know if anybody's whoever's been watching Raw for the last month and a half. It hasn't been me. I started off strong in the top of the month or whatever, but I kind of got busy and I had some stuff going on, so I missed it. I go back to catch up. I find out I could have just rewatched the shows I had already watched 4 times and done the equivalent of keeping up with the shows. Because what the fuck? We're just running it back, man. We're at the point where we're just running it back. But there's a silver lining. There is a silver lining. I found out something. The little guys are going to save the mid-card, and that's going to help Raw, because Raw has a terrible mid-card right now. SmackDown is kind of on fire right now. Even they trash it is not even that bad, because you just got to tweak a couple things to fix it. But Raw is a kind of a dumpster fire. But Humberto Carrillo, Ricochet, there's an Cedric Alexander. There's a chance here for there to be a mid-card built up with these great wrestlers, and all these guys are really good in ring. They just got to get that second level personality thing, and what they're right for right now is like a newer, like we need like a Chris Jericho, somebody who can just like talk on the mic like so well or whatever. They can get everyone else over and get everyone into their stories or whatever, because amongst the little guys on Raw, there's not really that good of a talker. I can see Cedric becoming that. I'm starting to see him maybe.
He's probably the best of the bunch that you.
Yeah. And if he steps up into that role, there's a potential that we could see like a mid card with kind of like smaller guys, kind of Chris Jericho size, like like Cedric or Alexander Ricochet or whatever, that kind of goes on to be great for about 2 years. And I can see that, but they would have to capitalize on this. So if for any reason that anybody who works at WWE is listening to this right now, I'm telling you, you got the guys. Get a creative team on the side, come up with the stories, just pitch the stories to them. Don't worry about like trying to create the stories in-house. Do that shit at home, bring it back to the goddamn office and try to get some shit going with them. I'm telling you, you're gonna cash the fuck out, man. There's some opportunity there.
You know what's crazy? I was like listening to you talk and I'm like, who's the United States champion? I really couldn't remember.
Nigga,
I had to Google it. It's Sheamus.
It's Sheamus. Yeah.
Where's Sheamus been at? I was like, who is the United States champion right now? I can't even remember.
You just ruined my free write because I was the U.S. title scene needs a shakeup because I forgot who the U.S. champion was.
I was sitting here Googling. I'm like, oh yeah, like it would be cool to see Cedric have a match with who? I'm like, who would he have a match with? Who is Mansoor going to face when they have another crown jewel?
And that's yeah. So
remember,
dude, you got Mansoor, you got motherfucking Humberto Carrillo, you got Ricochet, like Ali. Yeah. Like, look at this. Like, you really have an opportunity to create like a whole nother program within your program. Like, this is a great opportunity. I know a lot of the bag is going to be fumbled, but can we save some of it?
You could give us a fatal 5-way with those guys. That's heat. That might steal the show.
I'm watching that same match every week. I don't give a fuck. Like,
he can even be like some number one contender shit. Like, there has to be like nothing on the line but a shot at a title, and it would burn house. Or like, I hope they bring back some type of King of the Ring thing where there's just a lot of matches of people, so you could like those tournaments that NXT does really let a lot of people shine. And you don't have to have a storyline as to why they're facing each other. They're facing each other because that's the bracket. And I think that's an easy way to get these different matchups. And I think you can really build up shit. Like, that's where we have people like Cameron Grimes and shit. Cameron Grimes didn't even win. The guy who won isn't even in WWE anymore. Jordan, whatever, I forget his name. But it just gives you time for people to shine and you see them. Or like the Mae Young Classic, you just see them. And then you have all these like kind of retroactive storylines you can make from that, like down the road. A year later, like, oh, you knocked me out the King of the Ring tournament or whatever. Like, there's just so much there for that. But I do think part of it, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Part of it is, I think if they're in a figure 8, is a more of a business thing because they're about to start touring. And I think they're saving a lot of the stuff that's interesting for touring. So I think they are purposely not doing new stuff because they want, like, even like you said with like the Edge thing, it's like they're probably going to cap the Edge thing and Money in the Bank so they can do the big thing for SummerSlam. And it's like, so that way Edge can get Rollins at SummerSlam. But like, you can tell, like, I feel like a lot of stuff now is like, we're giving you like the bare minimum because like we really want these big pops and these big moments and comebacks and shit for fans.
So there's 2 points. One, you kind of hit on something, like you hit on what's coming later with my actual rewrite. It's a great idea. Excuse me. And two, another great point that you made is like, yes, it gives people that time to see. And like, I think you're right about that. They're probably waiting to like show all these people. And I just hope that they actually do, because I'm thinking about it, it's tough to create all these stories constantly on your head. Like, you're just gonna, you're gonna get fatigue or whatever. And sometimes you can just let the crowd do that for you. You let them do that for you by having these guys go out, and they'll just show you what kind of character they're supposed to be and let it write it for you. So I think with the live shows, we're gonna see it, but just like WWE, for the life of God, please, like, just stay committed to letting them at least like demo this shit out in front of people. Like, let them go see it. Will you see Mansoor and all these guys or whatever in person? There's no way you're not gonna be like, oh shit, like they're gonna be able to get that chance. So let them have the chance and let them have it more than fucking once, please. Please.
And it also sounds bad, and I'll get to mine, kind of relates to this topic, but like what we're gonna talk about later as well, the whole thing with all these releases, you're like kind of forced to, like, these people have to wrestle because there's really no one else here. Like, Jeff Hardy has to wrestle now. Like, you have to be on TV. Dolph Ziggler, like normally that the match on SmackDown where Jimmy's facing Dolph, that could have been anyone. But because like there's no one else here to wrestle, Dolph, you got to take this pin today. Like, I'm sorry, like no one else is dressed to wrestle today. So I think that's part of it too, that we will see some of these guys surely because like someone has to eat these Drew McIntyre Claymores.
Yeah,
so someone has to do it. Like it's I'm sorry, like someone has to get put into the Hurt Lock, and it can't be Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods every week. So I think that'll too. But speaking of people to come up, this is someone who has a very interesting relationship with wrestling Twitter versus his relationship with wrestling fans versus his relationship with Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And that's Karrion Kross, Vitamin K, as I like to call him. A lot of people saw on Twitter, he premiered on Main Event. You know, it seemed like a soft premiere. Like they open restaurants with like a soft opening where like he came in, he had the belt, but his entrance was very like generic. It felt like it was almost like a placeholder. Like they just kind of just wanted to see him walk out and wrestle and stuff, not like really have him debut because the lights didn't even go down. And it was like his full NXT entrance is like so like produced and very like everything. So I think that was part of it. Oh, it's hard. And I'm sure with fans, it'll be hard. And I have a very like interesting relationship with Karrion Kross because like while I'm not kayfabe only, I'm like not really into the dirt sheets and rumors or even like wrestlers' personalities. Like, of course, I love and support BLM Randy, but in terms of like the QAnon wrestlers, like I find about it at the very end. Like I found about Jackson Riker like once it was like all over Twitter, and so I didn't know Karrion Kross had those kind of affiliations when I first saw him wrestling. So my first thing was like, oh, okay, I'm here. Aleister Black adjacent. I'm a fighter, demonic. The entrance super hard. Your wife. I love a valet, Scarlett Rideau, holla at me, you know. Yeah, I was fucking with it. I like the moveset a little bit. You know, it was cool. But then you hear about it, it's like, like I kind of really wanted to like you, and I really can't. But I do think his gimmick in general works better on the main roster because I think NXT, because of who he has to face all the time, it's just not. There's only so many times you can face Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. It's like, why is this big bear of a man fighting these children? Like, where are the adults for him to fight? And NXT just doesn't really have them up on like the top of the roster right now. Like, Velveteen's gone, Damien's gone, Bronson has North American title. Like a lot of their bigger guys, Killian Dane, they're just gone. And so I think, I mean, unless, you know, obviously Samoa Joe, that's always could happen. But I think that is kind of my big thing. I hope he is being brought up quickly. And I don't know how he's going to lose the belt because they've built him up very strongly, but I really hope he is being brought up and can give, like we're talking about that mid card, the main event picture, something interesting, something different, because like we don't have anything like him. Like we have big guys, but like even we don't have Braun anymore. Like we don't have, someone's got to eat these like big guy monster minutes. And so I think it'll be interesting to see if he gets put on where like a match, simply put, a match with him versus Bobby, him versus Sheamus, him versus it just looks more like, okay, yeah, these two people are in the same weight class, they would fight. That makes sense. Like he can have more regular matches, whereas like at a certain point, it's like Kyle O'Reilly literally weighs like half your weight. Like, come on, like, this is just not. There's no reasonable. It was like when Adam Cole faced Keith Lee. It's like there is simply no reasonable way for him to beat. Like you can't. Like Adam Cole's a great wrestler, but at a certain point, it's like, even on his knees for the last shot, he's taller than that. Like this isn't believable. It's just not realistic, as the gift says. And so I'm really hoping Vitamin K, you know, comes up probably Raw. I'm guessing if the stuff, like I'm guessing because it seems like Drew's out of the title picture, you're going to want another big guy. Probably Raw, depending on wherever they do the draft. I don't know. But I hope that he comes up and, you know,
he would get exposed. He would really get exposed.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. Owens would have him in the blender. On the mic, Owens and Sami Zayn will have him in the fucking blender.
No, but it's crazy to say someone in NXT, like he's losing stock in NXT.
Yeah.
Where he gained stock. Like that's where people are like, yo, you need to, and like people want him on the main roster just because like on NXT he's continuing to his value is decreasing. It's like we don't really fuck with you here. Like you main roster and be the big man, be the monster heel type dude, because NXT you don't work. Like this is a worker show.
Yeah, bro, we wrestling over here, dog.
You know what I just thought about too? He can be Raw's Baron Corbin.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Raw
exactly,
needs a Baron Corbin. That's exactly what he could be. Because like Karrion Kross is like, I love his like, and I feel the same way like Shannon or whatever. Like I even like when he first debuted, I just looked at him and I was like, I don't even want to know about your past because I could just feel like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, please, I just, you know, it's just like I don't even want to know
where that's
going.
Really
are. Yeah.
Because a lot of K's in the name. It's a lot of K's.
Yeah, that was the first thing that threw me off. I was like, whenever I see the word cross with a K, I'm like, ooh. But then also like he came out and like you know what it was? He was so good at it, like with the face. I was like, you too good at that face. I don't know. But like that's what also made me like him at the same time as a wrestler. Like he really gets over or whatever. But like when I think about it or whatever, like that's the kind of thing where it's like I don't really need either like a one show or like, you know, I don't need a 4 show or even just a 1 show kind of setup for him to be there all the time.
Yeah.
Just like Baron Corbin. Like Baron Corbin will be sitting in the background. You forget this nigga's like even in the back, whatever. And something's going on in the ring. He comes out, and after he's done talking, it's like, oh yeah, that is a good reason why these two should fight. And then they go fight. And Karrion Kross, I can see absolutely that for him. That is absolutely where he.
I too would want to fight Baron Corbin. Like it just makes, as soon as you see me, like, yeah, I'd want to beat him up. And I'll say, like you're talking about Martin, like his stock going down. That Adam Cole promo where he says, all you have to do to make me feel special is ring the damn bell. I was like, yeah, man, you're done, man. Like that's really awesome, like back-to-back Drake shit, dog. That's like getting body by a singing nigga. Like that's really some different shit, bro. You can't let a nigga talk to you like that, bro.
You really can't. Yeah,
you just can't let another man talk to you.
That's
like
when
that,
you go
bro.
to the. It's like, oh, all right, I'll be back.
All right. Yeah, all right, bro. Like, and you gotta go to the main roster. You letting dudes talk to you crazy, dog, in front of your wife. Your wife is here,
wow.
Bro.
Yeah,
Your wife is here, bro.
Wow.
Come on, bro. This man has a family.
For me, I'm gonna keep my pre-write real short. One person that I have to give flowers to, despite all of feelings about him outside of the ring, Riddle on Raw is dialed in. He is performing at a level. He's like 2018 Seth Rollins, 2017, 2018 Seth Rollins level right now. No bad matches.
Nope.
Every promo is really funny, really enjoyable. Like there's really not much to say. He's just
the feud he's in makes sense too. Like who he's fighting makes sense. It's interesting. Yeah, it's like it's good opponents too. Like it's a good story.
Him picking up a win over Drew McIntyre.
Yes.
The Drew let's like, and we give praise to Drew a lot, but let's talk. Drew was the 2020 MVP for the WWE.
Absolutely.
He wasn't pinned by anyone, but for like a year.
Drew is besides Randy and Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
like a couple random Raws, he might have got pinned on some cheap shit, but like Drew is one of the guys.
Yeah,
for Riddle to defeat Drew to qualify for Money in the Bank, that says so much about how they feel about Riddle. That says, bro, that speaks volumes.
To me, it feels like Randy getting up with him, spending time with him, then Randy going back to like Vince and all the other niggas and being like, yo, I went and checked the nigga out. Yeah. Like, yeah.
It reminds me of like we did the special about Diesel and Sean, and he talked about like part of how I got better was just being around Sean and Brett and like just seeing them wrestle and just talking to them. And I'm sure Riddle is the same, but just being around Randy Orton, who is like, we've done everything. Like there's nothing you can say about Randy Orton as a wrestler. Like you just can't. And so I'm sure just talking to him, just like watching him wrestle that close, you're gonna get better. Like you're just gonna be a better wrestler. And so like that's probably just osmosis.
You know what's fucking crazy about it? He's smoothly getting better. Cause like when I think about it, like a year and a half ago, I would watch his matches and I would think like, I was like, if he keeps doing that, this isn't gonna last. You know, I'm looking at certain things. I'm like, and not even just like body wise. I'm just looking at it like, you know, how he's telling the story while he's wrestling in certain movies, picking and like, you know, using up a lot of energy at times. And it's just certain things or whatever I was watching. It was like, you know, you could tell, but it was like youthful energy, excited kind of stuff or whatever. Now you can like when I'm looking at him now, it doesn't look like he's excited to be here. It looks like he's going to work. And I'm like, oh shit. It's like, but like, so when a nigga look like he going to work, but at the same time he having a ball with it, you get out the way. Get out the way.
Hey, what I'll say too, and as someone who's watched 2 episodes of Dynamite this week, the nigga y'all think Kenny Omega is, that V trigger, Matt Riddle got that shit ready, bro. Matt Riddle really be whooping niggas ass in the ring. Like when I say stiff, like I'm telling you, that man is wrestling right now. Like it's just wild because I've been watching so many different wrestling. Like a lot of things on AEW, them niggas is going, like them niggas is working. Mm-hmm. But then you think about Riddle, he right up there with him, bro. Riddle is up there, selling. Like the facial stuff, the character work, like the stuff with Randy, where he's helping Randy lose matches now. Like, yeah, he's doing his thing.
I became a stan as soon as the RKO hit.
When they switch moves, chef's kiss.
I was like, I have to stand now. Is what I have to do
because that's what you would do. Like if you were tagging with Randy Orton, you would RKO with somebody. And exactly. Look at Randy like, I did that shit, bro. Like that's exactly what anyone would just do. It's like relatable. It's like, yeah, obviously.
And that's my favorite thing about Riddle right now. It's like all you like you guys mentioned, like everything that you mentioned, like that's the whole point. It's like there's a whole checklist of things to get right and to get wrong. And then, like, you know, there's a mix. Like certain people have certain things that they get right and get wrong and whatever. And we accept them for who they are. And then, like, there's certain wrestlers who like come along and it just feel like these niggas just get every fucking thing right. Like they get the talking right, they get the story right, they get they get the selling right or whatever. They get, you know, putting down the move right. Like just every little detail that goes into this shit, it feels like they're getting right. And that's what it feels like this nigga is like fine-tuning right now. And it makes sense because he with Randy and Randy's amazing at that or whatever. Like I watch Randy Orton matches now and I've probably seen like, I don't know, probably 200, you know, I don't know, a lot
of Randy Orton. Randy Orton has tons of matches.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot. And to this day, I watch a Randy Orton match and expect to be surprised at how he's going to surprise me or whatever. And it happens every fucking time or whatever. And I'm like, yo, to like be operating on that level after like 20 years of this is crazy or whatever. And Matt Riddle's like, yeah, give me that game.
Yeah. He on some LeBron James shit where niggas is like, yeah, Randy Orton about to be that nigga. And Randy Orton's like, yeah, I am. You're right. I'm about to be that nigga. Like, you're 100% right. Like, I'm really about to do this. Like,
I want to give flowers to him because I've enjoyed everything that he's doing. I enjoy the variety of his finishers as well. He's got a submission.
Yeah.
He's got a flying
top rope.
He's got the bro Derek. He's got so many different ways he can finish a match against you. It's just like you get something new every time you watch, and I genuinely enjoy it so much. So giving my flowers to Riddle, the wrestler, Riddle, the person, whatever. But Riddle in ring promos, elite.
Yeah. Also, shout out to Riddle because me and him take the same medication, if you know what I mean. They help
let's move on to our free write. We kind of previewed this a little bit earlier, but I just want to start because that United States title division needs putting it back. It needs shock treatment. It needs a charge. It's like Chan said earlier. We forgot Sheamus was the U.S. champion. It's a very easily forgettable thing. If you look at SmackDown, you don't forget Apollo Crews is the champion. Apollo Crews is on TV every week. And granted, it's a 2-hour show, so sure it's different. But like Apollo Crews is on TV every week. His presence is felt, and he's just he's a champion. He's
feuding with important people. He's doing things. He was a Money Bank qualifier. Like he's important because he's like supposedly the second highest male champion on the show. Like he's a guy.
So I think the U.S. title division needs it absolutely. But that's all I got. How about y'all?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I was watching Sheamus the one week or whatever, and he was like, you know, that fella or whatever. And I was watching Sheamus, and I was like, even Sheamus realizes that, yeah, I just gotta like make something up, man. You know, I'm just out here just making some shit up. It's just like there's just no planning around it. But like it goes, I'm gonna like relate it back to Chan's point. Like you did make a great point, which now, like before that, I wasn't thinking that way, and now that's like my perception of it. Like, yeah, they're like whatever it is. Like I don't think they've completely forgot about it. It's just I think mostly like they're saving for it, and it makes a lot of sense because if you look at who all could potentially go into the U.S. title, that's a big contender pool or whatever, and you need to have great stories and matches to like go around that, and the things that end up don't going around the title, like, you know, the people who just have their feuds that don't even involve a title. So yeah, I think it's on the come up. We're just in that part where it's just like you're going up waiting for the roller coaster to hit or whatever, but for some reason, like, you know, when sometimes it plateaus, this plateau is like a mile long. Shit just boring.
For myself, I'll be kind of quick, but it kind of links to my next point with Karrion Kross. It's time for the biggest of the Woos to come stateside. The ring general, Walter of Imperium. It's time for Walter to come on. Like we know UK title, which I will say, I don't know if I said it before, one of the prettiest belts in all of wrestling. Like that belt, the design is crazy with like the lions on it, hard. But he's gone like almost like 2 years with it. He's got another feud with Drogonov coming up. I'm sure it's gonna bang. He probably kill each other. I think it's time for him to come stateside because like when Walter does have matches like against like Adam Cole and they fought like Undisputed Era and shit, everyone goes dummy. Like the Walter chant, the entrance is impeccable. Like, don't change it. Don't change the music, the coat, the boots, the gear, everything is perfect. Like, he's ready to come over and either be in the NXT title picture and be the dominant kind of heel that you kind of want Karrion Kross to be, honestly. Or I could see him, if it's a couple months from now, debuting against Apollo for the Intercontinental title and be like, I'm here purely for gold. Like, I'm here just to win. I'm not here for feuds. I'm here for belts. And it can be him and Imperium, and then they can deal with as Commander Aziz. And then you really like debut Walter in a big way. Because I would say like the world title picture, but I think it's a bit too high because I don't think the casual person knows about Walter enough yet. But like if you put him in the mid card, just that entrance alone and his like just his sheer size and watching him, once you watch Walter wrestle one time, you're like, yeah, that's fire. Like that's fire. It's like Keith Lee's like, yeah, he's fire. Like I'm a fan. I like kids, adults, men, women, everyone sees it. Like, yeah, that big guy doing that frog splash, I'm in. Like I'm in for that. And
Bro.
so I think bring him stateside. Let's make it happen.
Bro, Fatal 5-Way, Walter, Apollo, Sammy, Kevin, Big E.
The chops, my guy.
Ooh.
Low key need Walter. I still want to see the like I want Imperium to come over too and like feud with someone because I like Imperium together. Like also I like Survivor Series. I've never understood why they don't do the UK champion versus the NXT champion. Like instead of that triple threat, you should have like the UK champion versus the NXT champion and the cruiserweight champion versus the North American champion and like separate them that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that could be another thing too. Maybe they keep it on him until Survivor Series where he fights someone there. Because I think like a match with like him and Bobby or Roman, like also if I don't even win. If he faces Karrion Kross, he's sending Karrion Kross to God, bro. I'm telling you, that man Walter, like he'll really hurt that man. So like I don't wish it on Karrion, but he would definitely hurt. So I just think we need more Walter in our lives. It's time.
I was gonna say actually, like when you were talking earlier about Humberto, Ricochet, Cedric, I think the cruiserweight division should go across all three brands. Because you know, if we're not gonna have Sheamus defend his title, we're waiting for some reason to have him defend against someone. Humberto, Ricochet, Cedric, have them. Cedric versus Kushida, Ricochet versus Kushida. That's whoever the SmackDown cruiserweights are that I can't think of right now. Like Raw really needs. I think Raw needs more than SmackDown. Obviously, like all those little guys that you mentioned who are doing their thing. Like for them to have things that we're more invested in. Like I think if Kushida came up to Raw one day for a match against Cedric, that'd be hard. That'd be so hard. I would love that.
I'm here for that. God damn. I'm imagining that match in my head right now and I want to watch it.
Fire.
Okay, so we got through our division stuff. The call-ups, how are they doing? Rhea Ripley. I like Rhea a lot. I think she's really talented. And I think she just needs a little more time to get acclimated and step up her in-ring. Because let's think about it. She's been in the ring with Asuka and Charlotte. Like those are two top
goated.
So if you're not matching them, you're gonna look like you're not as good as you might be. Rhea's really good in ring, but she's still got to get her chemistry together with Asuka and Charlotte. So I mean, I think she's doing well. She's champion right now, so she's clearly doing well. And she made it out of a title defense against Charlotte and Asuka. Made it out of one against just Charlotte. Granted, it was disqualification, so they want her to be champion for some time for a reason. So I think she just needs to step up promos a little bit, step up her in ring against those elite wrestlers. Like if she's in there with someone who's at her level or beneath, I'm sure she'll shine. But she, they're putting her in the fire, rightfully so. You're the Raw Women's champion. You have to defend against Charlotte. You have to defend against Asuka. You have to face these top tier talents, and you have to bring your performance up to that level to where we're really believing in you as champion. I fuck with her as champion. I'm like, I don't think you're gonna last long because what you're doing against these two is. But she's cool. I fuck with Rhea. How you think about Rhea?
I have 2 points. I'm still gonna make them, but I realized after you just said what you just said, the other side to what I'm about to say. One, I'm not like talking to Rhea, but more so like the team that is Rhea that like makes the character or whatever. Like you guys have to play a little bit more with like language or whatever. She's got to have something good to say on the mic by the time that the people get back, because like Armand said, like she's just got here working in ring You can't really judge the chemistry that much or whatever, even though like I've seen some stuff where it's just like, ooh, like you guys should have practiced before you came out here. But yeah, like you've gotta fix that. And the second thing is this like is where the kind of there's two sides of it. The way I see it, initially saw it was like, if I see Asuka take one more riptide and get pinned, I'm going to call the DOJ and file for hate crimes. Because it just didn't make sense to me. It's like, is it 5 or 6 times now that she took the riptide and pin? It's like up to that number. It's a
Asuka
lot.
loves a pin. Asuka will eat a pin, bro. We know that.
Yeah.
One thing, she gonna eat a pin, bro.
And that's all well and fine, except for the fact that it's just like, I saw somebody else made this point. It's just like Asuka beat, I think Asuka beat Rhea Ripley the one week or whatever, and then like the next week Charlotte beat her, and it was just like, all right, because I just beat you, I get Hell in a Cell. And it's like, well, what the fuck about Asuka beating her or whatever? And it's just like, so like it's like everything around that whole situation or whatever. Like here's the other side to it. It seems like they're just having Rhea cutting her teeth against the greats or whatever, so that when the crowd comes out, she can be that champion that they want to show off to people in person. The problem is you guys are still doing that shit on TV. Like you have to like work in some other stuff too, but also at the same time, because you're doing it on TV, there's things that you can try. And I feel like you guys just aren't trying like really too much or whatever. And one place that you guys can start, try on the mic, like have her say some like crazy salty shit that'll lead to them having to do other shit in the ring because she talking crazy in certain ways or blah, blah, blah. But just like find something fresh before the crowd come, because like the crowd not going to save it, my nigga. I'm telling you that right now.
I feel the same way about Rhea as I do about Markel Fultz. I feel like what fucked her up is that they put her in WrestleMania 2 years ago. So that way, when you debuted her, you couldn't debut her as like anything less than the top of the card. And this is obviously retroactive and like would never have actually happened, but just a thought. She would have done much better starting off in like a faction, namely the Riot Squad.
Yes.
She would have been much better if she could have been with Liv and Ruby and kind of grown naturally that way.
It was fucking right there.
Went after the tag belts. It would help her because Ruby can really talk. Ruby can really work. Same with Liv. I don't know if Liv can talk, but she can work. And so, well, maybe she can't work, but she's pretty. So let's just leave it at that. But like, I just think that would have done her much better. So, because you're just like helping her grow with, it's kind of like they're doing Raquel and Dakota Kai, where it's like you pair them with this person who is so uber talented that Ruby could have helped mold her and shape her because they're similar characters. So she could have understand like where the promos are coming from and like that kind of thing. And I think you would have not had her do all this heavy lifting at once and kind of set her up to fail, where it's like, now she has to wrestle the greats because like you started off, you can't go from one WrestleMania, wrestling Charlotte for the NXT title to the next one being in the women's, battle royale. They're just not going to do that. Like you're just too hot. And so I think that was really how I feel about it. It's like, I think they did her a disservice in doing that. And I'm sure she'll figure it out because she is very talented, but it's also hard too, because there's just the dichotomy of like you and her and Bianca is just so, in my opinion, much further along on her progress. That maybe because she has the Street Profits to help her and like her husband, like just that kind of just couple, we can just talk all the time about shit. Maybe that's why, but it just seems like Bianca's character and how obviously SmackDown's a better show, but just how she fits into everything just feels much more natural, way less forced, just much like, of course, yeah, she's beefing with Bayley now and it makes sense. And Bayley's having these promos and her responses are good and the matches are good. Like it just flows much better. Whereas the Rhea stuff feels almost like Rhea has to be in the title picture. So like we need to figure out everything backwards from that.
And that's exactly the mistake they made. And when you brought up the point about putting her in a Riot Squad, it's just like they like, so the best solutions in the world, the smartest ones or whatever they're not always simple. Sometimes they can be complicated, but a lot of times there's just like about path of least resistance. If you put Rhea in the Riot Squad, she's going to look like the Beyonce at some point. Yeah. Then it's going to be easy for her to just transition into being the person like The Rock did out of the nation. Like there's a
she's
formula
Roman.
for this.
She becomes Roman at that.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah, she would be she would literally like both physically
be the Roman.
Yeah, it makes the most sense. So it's and then it works for all three of those people later down the line because now you have another like story in your bag that you can just reach in if things ever get stale. You can pull out the faction thing like they walk past each other in the hall once they're all like split up or something like that. Like it was such like a layup thing right there or whatever that it just didn't make sense to me or whatever. And this is going to come out later in my rewrite or whatever, but it's just like you had that right there. It was right there.
Also, I will say, speaking of tension of former factions, the subtle Seth Roman is just a nice drizzle, but it's just a lovely finish to SmackDown. Do you see just the drizzle of, hey, bro, I want my shot, nigga. Like it's just such a
they're doing a great
nice
making us want it. They're planting the seeds, and we're like, yo, we want to see this bloom.
Yeah, you catch a hint of it, just a hint of, ooh, like, yeah.
I think the only question is this WrestleMania or the next WrestleMania. Like, that's the only question at this point because I can see it. And after watching like Roman like be in this position for a long time, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm watching Roman, and I'm like, okay, clearly he likes long form storytelling. Seth also likes long form storytelling, man.
When Seth was on Talking Smack and they announced the Edge match, and he literally looked at like, what the fuck? What about my shot? I was like, exactly. Mm-hmm. What about your shot? And that is how you plant the seed. Like his face was so perfect. He was like shocked. He was like, what?
He's gonna hurt Edge at Money in the Bank. Like he's
definitely
he's stomping on his neck.
Bro, that Seth Edge series is going. Oh my god,
that's gonna bang.
That pack gonna be so loud.
that match gonna bang.
Let's Rick Boogs real quick. I love him.
I fucking love Rick Boogs.
I'm all in on Rick Boogs. I'm glad you guys love him too. Since I saw him in NXT with the singing, been in. I was all in.
Me to say, I love him. He's doing incredible. I love Shinsuke's new pursuit, becoming the king. Because King Corbin was king of the ring for like 2 years. That shit end. Shinsuke is the guy to do it, and it's heating Shinsuke up. It's making us remember what Shinsuke is, what he can do, type of person he is. So it's working all around. And it's making Corbin angry. So Corbin's probably gonna have a fun next couple months, whatever, with what he does. So I love it.
I'll say too, this is something they did with in NXT UK with like the Heritage Cup. I like the moving of wrestling like trophies to be like not only belts. Like there's other stuff that's important. That's not just a belt. It can be like this thing or this like crown or this like a cup, or they have like the ring or something like an AEW. Like I just like stuff. It's just cool, different. Like, oh yeah, they're fighting for that. Like that's also important. It's just not a belt, but it's still of equal importance. So I think that's hard.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Man, like here's the thing. When I saw Rick Boogs like do the entrance for Shinsuke the first time or whatever, and when I saw him as like what he was like average guy when he won the 24/7 7-Eleven championship or whatever,
or European title.
Yeah, like when I saw him, I was just like, oh shit, this is what they needed. He's like, you always need like a I don't know how to explain this. There's like characters like Gold.
You need a gimmick. You need purely gimmick characters. You can't. Everyone can't be a serious fighter. Some of it has to be ridiculous. Like
exactly.
That's wressling. Some of it you have to have Rikishi. Like you just have to.
Yeah,
like, you just have to. You can turn them serious sometimes, but it has to be some silly shit.
Exactly. And it's like basically like you need to have like this like the gimmick that's like so ridiculous it just penetrates through reality. It just shoots through like, and that's what I realized about Rick Boogs. I'm like, this guy is like. I was looking at it, I was like, yeah, he should be here. Like, I'm looking at it or whatever. I'm like, yeah, like there's a bunch of wacky shit going on. We need this wacky, like this is some wacky shit that we need though. Like this is funny, great, wacky shit like that you absolutely need. Cause you just go, what the fuck? Who is this? This is like a guy from the 80s, but he's like a muscle man with the fucking mustache. Look at this guy. Like,
I will say though, as we learned with the Lions, he got about 6 months. I'm like, hey. He got to start wrestling because Elias was hot too in the streets. Hello, I am Elias. Was banging. But after point, it's like, does he ever wrestle? Does he have entrance music? Does he have a finisher? And you have to take it somewhere. So it was all that kind of stuff. It can get repetitive if that's all he ever does.
Yeah, that's true. But I think what where they missed with the Elias's opportunity, they can do with Rick Boogs, and they absolutely should or whatever. Because it's the same thing. It's a beefy guy coming out with a guitar, and like he doesn't wrestle at this point or whatever. Like it's the same play. Here's the difference or whatever. It's like with this guy or whatever, like you should do what should have been done with Elias, where it's like you really make everything about him his gimmick. So when he comes out, his gear should be goofy and like kind of like that style that he does. His moves should reflect that, how he gets hit and how he like the way he shows pain, like everything should reflect it, so that it's just more of like an experience, so that you're not even worried about whether he's one of the greatest wrestlers or not or whatever, or even like if he cares about whether or not he wins the match or not. He's just there to entertain you with his existence. It's just his thing has to like be consistent across that. If they can build his character into everything that he does or whatever, we got a great gimmick guy for like at least like the next 5 years. Like, and there's a great opportunity for this. But again, like I said, they just have to do it more than once, stick with it, be consistent to actually try it out, and we'll see how it goes. But I think that's a big hit. Also, too, he's gonna be fucking huge with kids when they come back.
Oh yeah.
A nice little positive character or whatever, just all about like some fun and music, random weird stuff or whatever. If you keep them positive, oh man, and when you say great with kids, the people behind sitting in the front office know what that means. That's that check coming in. So
yeah, man, they still selling Cena merch, man. Still selling the merch.
Pack still going,
W.
Taiwan a country, but Pack still going.
And to get into our main event, the rewrite, written and curated by the guy CC. So I'm gonna let him lead. Let us know what we talking about today.
So as we all know, I mean, we're all sweaties at this point. We're all wrestling fans or whatever. If you're listening to this show, like you've got to be fucking sweaty or whatever. So like, we've all been watching this stuff. A lot of the opinions that we've said on here are things that you guys are already probably seen in tweets from both random regular people on the internet and people who are like close and behind the scenes and whatnot or whatever. So we all know what's going on. We're in that kind of like slump season before we get into like the real shit or whatever. And crowds are going to come back or whatever. So like they're really, really kind of slumped. Not much really going on recently or whatever. But one thing has been going on a lot recently that's been catching a lot of people's attention, pretty much everybody's attention. And it's all the fucking releases that's been happening. Like, hella people have been released, and like some people that I'm like actively been shocked about. And when you first see the releases or whatever, you're emotionally tied to certain people or whatever, but also at the same time, if you're real sweaty, you know how this goes or whatever, you can go like, oh, okay, I know why they would do this person, I can see why they would do that person. But there's certain things you can't reconcile at times or whatever, but in the back of your mind, you're knowing like, okay, they probably have a plan, or at least you're hoping that, right, or whatever. So I was thinking, okay, whatever their reasons for releasing those people, that was fine. But I'm always thinking about what kind of stories I want to see. So what if, inevitably it looked like they were going to be releasing people? What if we just changed around who they released, So I had this idea or whatever. And the idea is basically, out of all these people that got released, let's all three of us individually, like each of us, like take 1 to 3 people that we would have released instead of somebody else. And you don't have to say who you would have substituted or whatever, because that, I don't know, I just feels like that could get a little mean or whatever. But just say like somebody that you would have put as part of releases or whatever, and you can do a short explanation why or not or whatever. But at least one of those people has to be involved in the main storyline, and one of those people, that person that's in that main storyline, you have to rewrite their storyline at least for the next 4 to 6 weeks. That's just the minimum. You can go longer if you want. So I'll kick it off, since it was my crazy ass idea. Now that we all know the stipulations, this is what we're here to do or whatever. So let's say, it's June 25th. It was just June 25th. Let's just say, all of a sudden, these people were now included in that last round of cuts. And these are the people that I'm going to nominate. Shelton Benjamin. The reason being is because I feel like
stopping me. No.
I feel like Shelton Benjamin can go be an amazing star somewhere else. I'm looking at WWE, and I'm looking at their writing and like their trends and like how they like to write characters and like certain things that they're giving attention to and things that they're not giving attention to. And I'm like, Shelton and whoever he pulls to the side to work with could do all the work of coming up with something great. And who knows how long that'll take? Who knows if it'll actually take or not? But I know for sure he would be a big fish in another pond or whatever, like any other pond really, or whatever, outside, maybe outside of AEW, whatever. So he could maybe shine there. So I think that would be a thing where it work for everyone else. And then my next nominee is Liv Morgan, and it's kind of for the same reason. It's like once you get rid of Ruby Riott, it's like honestly, like Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan became kind of like a package deal to me or whatever. And that's because like they work so well together just as like a product or whatever. Like when you just like the image of them or whatever, like you get the gimmick immediately, you can see it or whatever, you know, and like you just completely understand it. So when you separate the two, I'm like, what are you doing? And then like I'm looking at like the writing, and I don't know what's coming next. I don't know who are going to be the call-ups, and I don't know what ideas that they have for character switches and stuff like that. So who knows? Maybe that's coming down the pipeline. But as it stands right now, from what I can tell, they're doing nothing to make sure that Liv Morgan can even be successful in the first place. So it like doesn't really make sense for her to even still be there. So like that's another person. And then my last one that I would like to get rid of would be Baron Corbin, Mr. $45,000 watch right on the arm from SmackDown. And it's not malicious at all. As you guys know, Shannon and I are huge Baron Corbin fans. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I love that guy.
And about you. And I'm still about you.
So, but here's the reason. We've talked about this on a prior episode before because we did a whole episode about him or whatever. Right now, Baron Corbin and Shinsuke are in this amazing, hilarious feud about Shinsuke basically stealing Corbin's crown. And Armand, you brought up a point about this earlier about how Corbin's been king of the ring for like 2 years, and maybe it's time for Shinsuke to step up. That's my whole story right there. Or whatever. Shinsuke has kind of had like a dry thing for like the last, like, I don't know, probably since, you know, that where like it started to take a turn after he came in or whatever. Like it was hot for a minute, and then as soon as it take a turn, that shit turned and it stayed there or whatever. So I'm thinking like there, and Shinsuke also is like, you know, he's not the youngest guy ever, so it's not like he's looking to, you know, be like, oh yeah, I need all these accolades, and he needs to like, you know, it's not like he's hungry. He's like really trying to like knock a lot of shit out. So for those kind of guys who are like veterans or whatever, but they're going to show up every week, those are the perfect guys to like help other storylines and other people come up and keep other things interesting. And I think about it and I'm like, yo, if you get rid of Baron Corbin, the last thing we saw was Shinsuke with the crown on his head. What if we start the Shinsuke Empire or whatever? And now I'm thinking, hard. I'm like, yo, so like the next week comes, and like Shinsuke is basically like he has like Corbin's chair out there in the ring, and like nobody's there or whatever, and like he gets to start off Raw or whatever, right? And then like so Raw just opens. Corbin's I'm sorry, not Raw. I'm sorry, SmackDown. SmackDown opens. It's probably not going to be them that open it. Like Roman and the family do their whole thing or wwhatever, and then after that, like you see the chair in the middle of the ring, right? Just next week after. So this is
do it right.
Yeah. Bruh, chair in the middle of the ring, light on it or whatever. We like, oh, that's Corbin's chair or whatever. And then like, you know, it's Corey's on. Wait, who's on SmackDown? Is that Pat, right? Yeah. And then oh my God, I love how Pat like always says like the wrong thing like every show. So like he can like, you know, like he can like work shoot kind of like a little message about like Corbin not being there, like a little thing or whatever. And then like, you know, kind of does that thing where he gets quiet, where he realizes he just said something he shouldn't have said, and like maybe Michael kind of says something.
So you know he fucked up, right?
Yeah, right. And then, but it's just we're still just seeing like the chair or whatever, and then they, you know, eventually some silence goes by, and they're like, well, what is this here for? Is like it's like, you know, blah blah blah. They're just kind of speculating, and then kind of the lights go out for a second. Spotlight hits the front of the stage. My man Rick Boo's with the guitar, slicing it up. Shinsuke comes out, he has like a whole like cavalcade or some shit or whatever, like whatever design he's thinking of or whatever, but it's just like, and maybe his music is just like tweaked just a little bit or whatever, but with the same kind of like solo or whatever, coming down to the ring or whatever. And you know, he doesn't speak much English or whatever, so like he's just like kind of looking around and whatever, he does his dances or whatever. And then like he kind of stands around for a while. And then like I think it would be great if like, you know, the cavalcade that he has, like the people who bring him out kind of like do this kind of like ceremonial thing or whatever, so that that we can see something, but he doesn't have to be talking, because it's key that I don't want him to talk much or whatever. And then like they put the crown over his head or whatever, and then he just says now starts the Shinsuke Empire or whatever, and then his music hits again or whatever, and then we just like cuts to like commercial, and then over like the next couple of weeks or whatever, what you see is like Shinsuke coming out or whatever, and like you'll see him talking with like Sonya Deville or whatever in the background or whatever. He would just like, you'll see him around like doing random things but not really wrestling people or whatever, just kind of like checking people out, and then we get the announcement King of the Ring is back, except for like, it's either like King of the Ring or maybe they rename it for the Empire or whatever. But it's just like, it's a whole tournament to see who's going to challenge Shinsuke or whatever for like the crown or whatever. And then like the whole time, because Shinsuke's so amazing at this, him and Rick Boogs are kind of just like trolling random matches here and there and shit like that. So the entertainment factor is there, but you're also getting to see these people or whatever, like we name like Mansoor and all these people. Like you get to see all these people like wrestle every week to kind of build up to that. And then like we're seeing who's like, getting picked out of that group. And then Shinsuke gets that person and they can go to like, I'm thinking like building up to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view or something like that. Maybe they do it at Royal Rumble, or like maybe it's like later than that. But I'm thinking this goes on for like 6-7 months, man. Like this could be like a great long forward program or whatever. And here's the key to it. The reason why I was saying like I don't want Shinsuke to talk is because like if you've ever watched like some of these like ridiculous comedy movies or whatever, there'll be some cases or whatever it'll be like the main character is like a goof that's like messing everything up, but they have to go meet like the prime minister of something, right? And that character is like playing the straight man, whatever. But like it's funny because like the goofy person's coming up and they're like trying to like do all these things to impress that person, and they're just kind of sitting there quiet the whole time, and they only said like one or two things. I want Shinsuke to be that kind of fucking emperor or whatever. He's just kind of sitting there trolling whatever, and he just like says something random, and you're just like, so what does he mean? And that's what Rick Boogs is there to do. He's going to be the mouthpiece to Shinsuke. And these guys are just going to kind of be like trolling around the WWE for like 6 or 7 months. That was my idea. I was like, yeah, that'd be fucking nuts.
And you know what you need to at the end of it? So you can have Shinsuke win or whoever wins. He's in there, coronation, confetti's dropping. Boom. Superman punch. You might be the king, but you still going to acknowledge me as your tribal chief. I don't care what your emperor is about, bro. You must acknowledge me. That's next Friday. He said he has to acknowledge me. That's what you won for being king of the ring. Now come out here and acknowledge me. Comes down to the ring. Think he's gonna bend the knee. Stands up, looks at him. Shinsuke Nakamura says Shinsuke kneels to no man. There you go.
You get Shinsuke. Oh my God. I didn't realize that. I do need Shinsuke Roman. Oh my God.
You can't have a king and a tribal chief on a roster without it being smoke. It has to come to a head.
Oh, I like that.
They played us around the Royal Rumble, bro. Like I wanted
yes. Oh my God.
Again, was like, okay, cool. I don't mind this, but I want Roman Shinsuke. I still want Roman Shinsuke. So that would be perfect. Especially
with like Roman's new character now, because like he's like so like vicious at times. They can trade strikes. Like Roman is very striky with his like wrestling now. So that can be a very, very good match, man. And they're both good with the storytelling. They're both good also at the same time and like getting their ass kicked and kind of coming back, and they can just kind of play that back and forth. Man, that was I need that pack. But yeah, that was my idea.
Shane, what you got?
So I feel like I've been very NXT heavy today, and I really think I did the war report because that's just been on my mind a lot. But so mine's NXT, and we were talking about this guy a little earlier, and this is showing again my personal bias. I'm not that deep in the streets. I've never watched New Japan. I just see what y'all put on Twitter. So it's really y'all fault. I don't know. But if I was gonna release anyone, it would be Kushida. I think the experiment, while impactful, has not hit for me. Like he has very good matches. Like, he's undeniably a great wrestler, but like the character stuff, the Marty McFly thing, it's not working for me. And so I think what you do is, so he has a match obviously against Santos Escobar to win the Cruiserweight title. You obviously don't have him win that, have him lose that match. Next open challenge, you have a man who knows how to have a title reign. You have the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne, billed at 205 per Wikipedia, just double checked. He would clock in to be a Cruiserweight. You have him beat Santos Escobar, setting up a feud with Doom, Oni Larkin, Danny Burch versus Legado del Fantasma. You have the same kind of triple threat match you did have with Kushida. You have like the 3-on-3 match Obviously, I think you probably have Phantasm win the 2 out of 3 falls match again with Santos and Dune. You have the 2 out of 3 falls let Dune win. I think you kind of play into like the heritage of each person. Like this is this great, UK wrestlers had titles and stuff. This is this great, Mexican heritage wrestler. And you kind of have this almost like a boxing match, like the nations fucking with them. They both have their entourages, so you can kind of have the different little tag matches and shit with that. And I think also what it leads you to, especially, is in my opinion, Pete Dunne is like one of the best wrestlers in NXT. Like I would be totally fine if he took the title off Karrion Kross. Like I love Pete Dunne.
That makes sense.
I like that all white fit he had for the last takeover was some of the best gear I've ever seen. Like Pete Dunne, the character, the shrug, the finger thing, the finisher, the mouthpiece, it's all hard. It's all working for me. And so you set up, you have him face like newer people like Carmelo when he had the open challenge. You still have the open challenge. You say I'm a fighting champion. I don't lose, like whatever. Then I think what also set you up for now is if you watch NXT, if you didn't watch it last week, Diamond Mine debuted attacking Kushida with Roddy Strong. And as most of you remember, in the Dusty Classic, Roddy betrayed Pete Dunne. And so now you have that storyline too being like, it's really always been on site, but you fucked me over twice now. Now I really got to come see you. So you can have Diamond Mine versus Pete Dunne, Lee Larkin, and Danny Burch, kind of the same thing. But you also have that back thing of like, I really used to like Roddy. Like we used to be cool. And now he's like stabbed a knife in my back twice. Like I really got to like get, and you have a nice vicious match. I think that you have two of the best technical wrestlers on the rosters going at it for months. You can do like a submission only match. You can do a steel cage match. You can just, whatever Diamond Mine's thing is. I don't know if they have like a gimmick yet. They just had kind of cool tracksuits. Maybe they have like some type of match, of cinematic match. I don't know. But I just think you set up a lot by having Pete Dunne. And kind of like we were talking to, you really legitimize the cruiserweights. You want to legitimize the cruiserweight, you have to make a legitimate wrestler like known for that. And I think Pete Dunne can do that. Because it's one thing like, yeah, okay, like I'll beat Cedric Alexander's ass. But like niggas know I'm not beating Pete Dunne's ass. Like nigga, if Pete Dunne has the title, like that makes that title automatically that much more serious. Yeah. And so you can have Pete Dunne kind of bring his cachet to the whole division, and you build that out as well. And like I said, you can have him come to different shows. You can have him show up on SmackDown and shit. Like he just has much more cachet, I think, than Kushida had at this point, which is not all Kushida's fault, obviously. But I just think it serves everyone better, I think, to have someone like Pete Dunne in that role.
Yeah, I want to see this movie. I want to see this movie because I feel the same way. Like he just hasn't. Every time I've seen, and I haven't even like been tuning in that much, but every time I see him, I'm just like, yeah. But I thought I keep hearing about this guy. I feel like when I see it, I thought I would see more. Yeah. Like, and then I think about it, I'm just like, yeah. But like when I think about it, it's just like he kind of needs room, and there's not that much room, and NXT is full. So yeah.
Like he faced Kyle O'Reilly in a non-title match. I didn't realize. I was like, oh wow, like that's just the non-title matches you're getting. It's like a guy who just was in the NXT title picture. Like so, like yeah, like you really need to be on your A game every week.
Yeah,
so that would be my rewrite.
For me, and I don't know if you consider this a main storyline, but Dana Brooke got to go. I've said it in our Dana Brooke has to go. But what you can do, because Mandy, I don't think she's amazing, but I think she does have the potential to be a solo act that we kind of fuck with. So I think you send Dana away, and Mandy's like, damn, I was about to fight for the tag team titles. My tag partner is gone. I need to search for a new partner. She's on the search. The draft is coming up. You bring Liv Morgan over to Raw. Team up Mandy and Liv as the two hot blondes from their factions that split up.
I like it, god damn it.
Bring them together. And it's one of those situations where people think Liv Morgan could be a star. I agree.
Yeah.
I think she can improve a lot, but I think she has the potential to be a star. So it's one of those situations where it's a tag team that's serving one person more than the other. Mandy has the potential, but Liv really has it. Like she has the it factor. So you have them team up. They could win the tag titles. They could lose them. Liv and kind of be like, I could do this on my own. Like I'm with you. I brought you in, and you're not helping the team be as great as it could be. They feud. Liv wins a feud. Then she goes on and does her thing. Mandy, I don't really know what she needs to do, but really the big part here is getting Dana out of here because I'm tired. Her promos aren't great. Her in-ring isn't great. She's got the physique. Yeah, she's a blonde. WWE loves that blonde archetype, but it's like, she really served no purpose. And Mandy, like, I felt like around the Otis stuff, the Sonya stuff, like she really got to show herself and got to shine. And now she's in the tag team with Dana Brooke. It's just like I'm not invested. So get Mandy away from her, team Mandy up with Liv, see what they can do with the titles, and then ultimately that's more so to serve Liv. So Mandy will be serving as a vehicle as well for someone else, but like she would get that time to shine and really show what she can do. Like if she performs better than Liv does, maybe Mandy could get the Liv rub and the Liv push, but Dana got to go. That's really the biggest thing for me is Dana has to go.
I mean, you're not gonna see me advocating for saving that white woman. Like,
Yeah, a few things. One, yeah, I don't know. I maybe she got some dirt on somebody. I mean, that's clearly the level we're at right now. So I don't know what's going on there. Two, I think it's interesting with Mandy Rose because, like, I was thinking about this as you were talking. Like, I feel like her and Sonya should switch. I feel like she would be better served as an authority figure, as kind of like the hot principal type role, and then Sonya would be better just as a pure wrestler. Because I feel like
better in ring.
Yeah, Sonya is actually a better wrestler. So that part obviously.
So I cannot wait to see her if ever. Man, I just need to see it again. Yeah. She was great.
She's a good wrestler.
To give herself a title shot. Like, Charlotte, get out of here. Asuka, get out of here. I'm fighting you, Rhea. Like,
so Armand, when you were making your point, I was gonna add to that and say this: like you created a potential for a gem in there or whatever, which is have Liv be the face, break off from the thing or whatever. And like you were saying, like Mandy was just serving as a vehicle or whatever. Have somebody like maybe like make that comment, not Liv, but somebody else make that comment while talking to Liv, and Liv not really say anything about it or whatever, just because of the way the conversation goes. Then turn Mandy fucking heel. Turn her heel, because look at her. Like, if you look at Mandy's face, like Mandy kind of has like RBF a little bit, that's kind of, so her face caters to kind of like more of a scowl than it does to a smile to me or whatever. At least like if you're, and when it comes to emoting, because she doesn't really like twist her face that much up when she's emoting. So if you don't twist your face up when you're emoting really that much, it's easier to kind of look like you more of just like you're not really getting anything across, which works well if you saying like, nah, I really fuck with you, blah blah blah. And her character could just really be like that. It could be like honestly, it could be a play on the stereotypical kind of like corny like white girl thing where it's just like, oh, I don't think it like you could,
she should be doing what Carmella's doing.
Yes, absolutely. Honestly, she would actually make a better Carmella. Like, yeah, that's a good point. She would actually make a better Carmella, but maybe that's why they haven't made her Carmella, because they want to make Carmella stand out.
Yeah, because she will wash Carmella, because Mandy has the face of that girl who's been pretty her whole life.
Yes, and that's what it is.
Prettier than everyone else.
Yep, that's
whereas
exactly
Carmella,
it.
it's like Carmella obviously is a beautiful woman. Like, I'm not sitting here, pitting people against each other, but like Carmella has a bit more personality, a bit more like swag to her, where she can do different characters.
Exactly.
But Mandy is built for, I am the prettiest bitch you have ever seen, and y'all gonna respect me as such. Like that is what she is like. Looks like when she looks at Dana, it's like, yeah, I'm way prettier than this bitch. Like that's what she looks like when she looks at her.
Bruh. And honestly, if it wasn't for Vince being so old, I would say run that motherfucking that goddamn Trish playback.
Trish Stratus. That's his girl.
Just run that shit right back.
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking.
But now that I'm thinking about it, we need a GM shakeup, and we need an egotistical GM to like be put on one of these shows or whatever. Like maybe keep Adam on one show and then like put somebody else on another show. Get an egotistical GM or whatever that would fall for a hot lady. Boom, put Mandy right there or whatever, and she basically just like be controlling this nigga or whatever. It's just, man, that's Armand. That's a great point. Damn, Dana do really gotta go. That's crazy.
I'll also say with Liv, one thing we have seen with especially wrestlers like recently, like with like Becky and Roman, like your gimmick can be ass, but if it hits the moment they get that character to click in, all that shit is forgiven, dog. Like when I say niggas used to boo Roman Reigns, dog, like actively hate him, whereas now he's the best thing in WWE. Like by far, he's easily the best wrestler in the company, right? Like he's not the best wrestler, but like people love him as such now.
Channing,
it's not even close.
He called a nigga he grew up with the wrong name. Like this is the level is just, this nigga is Thanos. It's just like
working. And so if Liv can get just her character to click over in whatever way that is, she can be gone. Like all this stuff we talk about, like with, her character now sucks, she's boring. Like it takes one writer who sees the vision who was like, you know, we should do this with you. Becky Lynch, the man, that steampunk shit is gone. Like she just wears that t-shirt now every match. Like she don't even like you forgot about all that last kicker shit because once it hit, and that's all we talk about now. And she'll probably never go back to that shit. She'll like fluctuate now. Like Roman will fluctuate. Like you can never put the vest back on Roman. It's done
at all.
The Kevlar is gone. You can never put it back on. You're either semi-nicest guy, this character, or this character. There's no going back to that. And so for Liv, I'm hoping, you know, she gets with creative, you know, same way I feel about like Naomi. Like it just takes one little tick, one little adjust. What if we did this? What if we put you in this? Or what if you talked like this or said this? It takes one Austin 316, so I just beat your ass. And you know, you're Stone Cold Steve Austin. And that's the rest of your life now. No one remembers the hot blondes or the fuck his tag team was called. Like no one talks about that.
I see it. Dana, go check with the other promotions. Just see what they talking about. I guess maybe
I can tell you what they're talking about, and it's not much. I saw a cheerleader wrestle what I presume to be a porn star on one show. It was weird. The girl was like 19. It was weird. It got weird.
I'm just going to check out it is right now before I catch a case.
It got weird.
It's not even going to be involved in this.
I remember watching, be like, is she shoot 19? Is this a thing? What are we talking about? Like, what are you guys talking about? This is getting weird. Like this barely legal storyline. What are we doing? Like this is weird, dog. Like
no.
It was weird, bro. Like,
oh no.
I was like, scary horny hours, bro. It's like fucking Wednesday, dog. Tighten up.
Rewrite, fella.